Hey guys, LevelCap here, and welcome to This Week in Gaming. Call of Duty fans might finally be getting something they've been asking for, and the Division might never be fixed. If you're here for FPS or DLC news, just click its category to skip to that section of the video. Mobile users see the description for timestamps. First up, thanks to a leak by Target, the next Call of Duty Infinite Warfare has been revealed. The image confirms a few things as well. Firstly, the next Call of Duty will be set in space. We all knew it was coming, and it's finally here. Secondly, and probably the most exciting for old school fans, myself included, the Legacy Edition of Infinite Warfare will include a copy of Call of Duty 4 Remastered, including the full campaign and 10 multiplayer levels from COD4. The remaster has gotten people very excited, and while the legitimacy of this image is certainly questionable, Activision have all but confirmed that a COD4 remaster is coming. In response to a tweet about the potential remaster, the official COD Twitter replied with emojis that confirm the suspicion. Despite there being 7 titles made since COD 4's release, people haven't forgotten the game that propelled the franchise to its insane popularity. And speaking of COD, Black Ops 3 digital sales have been surpassed by The Division this week, but despite its continued record-breaking success, The Division has yet another blow dealt to it this week. Speaking from his 18 years of development experience, network coder Glenn Fielder wrote a detailed blog post outlining The Division's numerous issues. His basic conclusion is that because of how The Division was built, it would require a complete rewrite to fix the game's rampant hacking issues. As evidenced by the video he included in his blog post, The Division allows hackers to create simple tools that enable them to basically do whatever they want in the game. Infinite ammo, teleportation, wall hacks, you name it, and it can be done. This is really unfortunate as The Division is generally a pretty good game. Visually, it's a masterpiece, and while the progression system and Dark Zone still need a lot of work, it's work that Ubisoft and Massive seem to be willing to do. With the game so easy to break, and the fix being such a gigantic investment of time, resources, and money, it's unclear if The Division will ever be cheater-free. Hopefully Massive and Ubisoft publicly address these concerns soon. And unfortunately, Ubisoft has really been lagging behind so many of the other big publishers when it comes to stopping rampant hackers. It's one thing if a small indie developer is having trouble nailing down their hacker issues, but big titles like Rainbow Six Siege and The Division really need a solid, robust anti-cheat system, and Ubisoft has to step up their game. In more positive news, Doom's hour-long campaign reveal has done a lot to calm people down who were worried that the upcoming shooter would be a generic modernization of the classic franchise. Featuring open arenas, a progression system that actually impacts gameplay, and plenty of gory action, Doom's campaign looks to be the get out of the way and let the player kill everything kind of game that fans of the series have been waiting for. Doom 3's corridor shooter design was a big letdown for fans who grew up playing the first 2 titles, which despite their age are still master examples of great game design. And speaking of Doom, its co-creators have announced their new game Black Room on Kickstarter. However, shortly after the announcement, they canceled the Kickstarter to work on a gameplay demo. In an email to backers, Nightwork Games said, "We've decided to suspend the campaign and launch a new one when the gameplay demo is ready," citing that they know we should have included it at launch. Conceptually, Black Room didn't seem that ambiguous, but with many Kickstarter games not turning out as expected, it makes sense that a game potentially as big as Black Room has some kind of gameplay to show for itself. Another game that has come under scrutiny for not being clear about its gameplay, No Man's Sky, has a new video detailing its tie-in graphic novel and how the writing of that has influenced the game. No Man's Sky quite literally has a universe for players to explore, so telling a cohesive story without forcing players on a set path was undoubtedly a challenge for Hello Games. In the video, the game creator Sean Murray made it clear that everything in the game will be based on a consistent lore. Players can piece it together without having it shoved in their face, yet it won't be so hard to discover that its existence is relatively pointless. The upcoming Deus Ex Mankind Divided also had a video drop this week detailing the game's story and gameplay. The previous Deus Ex game, Human Revolution, was often looked at as a failure by fans of the original game who felt the choices in Human Revolution didn't have the same depth or consequences as the original game. While the new trailer for Mankind Divided doesn't detail the game's entire storyline, it does make it clear that the way you complete missions has a meaningful impact on how they unfold. Even if Mankind Divided doesn't deliver an every choice matters experience, it's sure to be a visually compelling game with competent storytelling and gameplay. Shadow Warrior 2 also looks to have very competent gameplay. The follow-up to the 2013 smash hit had more gameplay revealed at PAX East this weekend, and it looks to be a bigger and more open game. Featuring fighting along rooftops and a very fluid-looking combat system, Shadow Warrior 2 is shaping up to be a solid follow-up to a great FPS. Visually, it's also in a league of its own compared to the original, which was still visually impressive. The next Battlefield game is scheduled to be revealed at a live stream event on Friday, May 6th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Countless rumors have made their way around the internet about Battlefield 5, so actually knowing something real about it will be great for a change. If you want to know more about the event, check out my Friday video. Also, I'll be at the event, so if you're interested in more details, stay tuned to this channel. And in hardware news, the release window of Nintendo's next console, the NX, has been revealed. Launching in conjunction with the release of the new Legend of Zelda game, the NX will release in March of next year. The past few years have been pretty rough for Nintendo, with PSN sales alone surpassing all of Nintendo's sales. Hopefully the NX and a new entry in one of Nintendo's most successful franchises will help them recapture the success they seem to have lost. Personally, I would be interested to know exactly how much their anti-YouTube policies have affected their game sales. Perhaps they would be willing to reconsider them, since just about everyone agrees that it doesn't make a lot of sense. Samsung is also working on new hardware. This week they announced that they've begun development of a standalone wireless VR headset that may not necessarily require working with a mobile phone. Samsung's Gear VR, which they've developed in partnership with Oculus, has been a pretty big success for the company despite not being a premium VR experience like the Rift or Vive. While the standalone headset is still probably a few years away from release, it's interesting how committed to the technology a company as big as Samsung is. If more companies start working on VR systems, it'll only be a matter of time before affordable VR and premium VR go hand in hand. And in our last bit of VR news, Drive Club VR looks to still be in development despite Sony closing the studio developing it. Sony did make it clear that Drive Club brand would continue without Evolution Studios, but they've made no indication as to who will take up development. Now, I did want to make a quick mention of the new Hearthstone expansion, Whispers of the Old Gods. I know this isn't FPS news, but this game has got my full attention as of late, and the expansion is quite substantial. Not only does it bring a whole variety of new cards to the game, but it also changes the basic fundamentals of how you play ranked games. There's now two different ways of playing ranked games. One is called Standard, which only allows you to play with the core card set and the year's latest cards that have come out. This means that a new player coming into the game can play Standard game mode and not have to worry about collecting years and years of cards and card knowledge in order to be competitive. And then the other game mode is known as Wild, and this is basically just what basic Hearthstone game mode has been before. It has no card restrictions, so you can make some crazy decks in there, but you're probably also going to be going up against veteran Hearthstone players and some really crazy combos. I love this update to the game. It's what Magic the Gathering did naturally to make it more inviting to new players, and also make it so that every year there's going to be new decks and new strategies based around the Standard game mode. And finally, in eSports news, ESL have announced their parent company MTG Viasat will be broadcasting a 24/7 eSports TV channel starting this month. The channel will feature broadcasts of official ESL events. No details on global availability have been announced, and I'm personally very curious to see how successful esports on TV can be. Although esports on TV is old news for certain countries like, say, South Korea, where it's been around for many years, in the States esports really grew up on Twitch TV, and it'll be interesting to see if the modern esports audience really wants to watch esports on TV. In fact, I don't watch very much TV as is. Even the TV programs that I watch, I usually log into the actual website of that program, and then I can watch those episodes at leisure rather than being relegated to the specific time. So it'll be interesting to see if there is a market for televised esports versus Twitch esports. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching This Week in Gaming. I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.